Today we are going to preview and predict what is going to happen in Auburn versus Oregon. And all that's coming up after the bump.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider it in the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. So it's OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time. And today, me and my buddy Ron, who is not on camera, I would explain why, but I don't want to, are going to preview and predict what's going to happen between number 11 Oregon and number 16 Auburn according to the Associated Press poll rankings, because I trust those more than I trust the Amway coaches poll, because the Amway coaches poll is full of SIDs. It's just what it is. And then I know that those of you that don't really care about rankings being like we really shouldn't rank anybody until week 8 anyway, fight me. I love rankings. Ron, what's going on?
Hey, I saw the Dark Crystal yesterday on the big screen. It's pretty cool. Otherwise, I'm pretty good. I'm great. How are you, RJ?
I was fine until you started talking about the Dark Crystal on my college football show.
Why else would I be here?
Because Jim Henson is trash.
Oh, my goodness.
Anything past the Muppets we can get rid of.
So, why am I here today?
To talk about Auburn versus Oregon. Now, I find this fascinating because from a tentpole perspective, this game is about the Pac-12 more than it's about the SEC. This game is going to be played in Arlington, for those of you that did not know or live underneath that particular rock. So they're traveling halfway each. Team from Alabama, team from Oregon. We're going to call them Phil Knights, right? The Fighting Phil Knights. And the other team in Alabama. That's specifically just a jab at people who are Auburn fans, of which I know there are 4. That said, this ought to be a decent year for Auburn. Gus Malzahn is taking back the play calling, duties is I guess the term to use. And they are pretty cool on the defensive line. They're pretty cool at running back, pretty cool at wideout, and they're going to start a true freshman at quarterback. First time that's happened at Auburn since 1946, which, as Ron said, is a really long time. So if I tell you, Ron, that you're going to have a true freshman quarterback at Auburn, what do you think?
I think that there's no better university that you could be a true freshman starting at. I think that Gus Malzahn is just going to plug you into his video game and you can put up numbers, assuming that you can throw the ball and throw the ball deep.
Well, Bo Nix was the number 2 rated quarterback in the 2019 247 Sports Composite, which makes him the second best quarterback in the class, right? Behind Spencer Rattler, who was 3rd string at Oklahoma. Coincidentally, as I've been fond of pointing out on this show, and we'll point out to you now, Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, Sam Howell are all the starting quarterbacks at their respective universities. That's like number 2, number 3, and number 6 in the 247 Sports Composite Bowl. So Jaden Daniels at Arizona State, Sam Howell at North Carolina, and now Bo Nix at Auburn. Meaning it's a really good class. And this was not supposed to be a good class because these are all skinny dudes that are short. And people are like, there isn't a 5-star quarterback in here. And it's like, yo, Gus Malzahn disagrees with you. Mac Brown disagrees with you. Herm Edwards disagrees with you. All of those dudes named true freshmen as their starting quarterbacks. And ordinarily, I think I would pick against the true freshman starting quarterback. But number 1, I just saw a redshirt freshman outplay Felipe Franks in one of the most entertaining train wrecks in college football I've ever seen.
It was good, wasn't it?
Yes, it was so good. So good. Like, what was it? You were like, I heard there was a true freshman playing left tackle, and I had to see this.
Soon as I saw that, oh my goodness, do not let your children grow up to be left tackles at Miami.
I had such fun with that. And then, even so, Florida tried to give him the game. Yo, what you got on 4th and 34? I got this pass interference for you. And then I got another one on top of it. Okay. So, Auburn, Oregon. Again, big picture. Justin Herbert is considered, if not the best, one of the best quarterbacks available in the 2020 class, specifically after what he did, not just last year, but the year before. Okay. Houston Herbert. Yeah, go ahead.
A-Bear.
Okay, A-Bear. There you go. His joke, not my joke. His joke. I don't really think he's that good. I think he's good enough. I don't think he's that good. He's got C.J. Verdell at running back, who is a 1,000-yard rusher. But the most interesting part of that offense to me isn't the offensive line, which is really good and returns a bunch of really good players. It's Brendan Schooler. So we talked about this before doing the show. Brendan Schooler was a safety who had 4 interceptions as a true freshman. And they felt good enough about their safety play, or they felt their wide receiver play was bad enough to move Brendan Schooler to the other side of the ball. And as a senior, he was supposed to start, and then he broke his foot. And now, to me, you lose your best wide receiver.
You're out of safety and you're out of wide receiver.
And now you're playing. You're playing an SEC defense that's got Kevin Steele as the play caller. And you have a defensive end whose name, I kid you not, is Big Cat Bryant.
It's a good name.
It's a good name. It's a good name. Like, it's not his real name. His real name is Markevius, but he cringes every time somebody says Markevius, which I understand, because if you call me by my first name, I might want to just punch you in the shoulder. So I understand that, right? But now there's all up behind people in the comments that just want to call me by my first name and just want to get this internet banned.
I know you. I don't even call you by your first name.
There you go, 100%. Now, that said, right, if you're going to ask me, I think the SEC defense takes apart the Oregon offense, and it doesn't matter that you got a true freshman who's probably going to throw 2 picks. Because Malzahn's going to be like, no, we're going to run the ball with Booby. That's my man's name. My man's name is Booby. Mm-hmm. We're going to run the ball with Booby, and then we're going to chunk it deep. Where's the flaw here?
No, that's the style. Like, as much as I would hate to be somebody that would like to lean on the stereotypes of the conferences, this is kind of one of those games of styles. It's the SEC versus the Pac-10. It's going to be your big athletic defensive squad versus your high-flying, smooth offensive squad. But the problem that I've noticed so far, you talk about your boy Herbert for Oregon. Last year completed 59% of his passes.
Yeah.
And last year they say that the team was fine and that the promise for this year is that they could be better. But
yeah,
that's not enough whenever you need to prove yourself against an SEC defense like Auburn, which is not great, but it's much better than what you've been going against.
Yeah. And okay, I'm picking Auburn. Seems like you're picking Auburn.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
Okay, so now that we got that 8 minutes into the video, into the show, my next question is, what does Oregon need to do to win the game? Because we know what's at stake for them. We know what's at stake for Oregon in general, which is the Pac-12 and its overall perception and its resume. Pac-12's trash. That ain't me. That's the Pac-12. Like, the Pac-12, y'all sent Washington to the Rose Bowl, and Dwayne Haskins took them apart. Okay, that ain't me. That's the Washington State. You played Iowa State. Come on, man. USC, trash. UCLA, trash. Utah is actually my pick to win that league, but Washington is going to be there. You know, everybody was like, hey, Arizona State is on its way. True freshman quarterback, Benjamin at running back. We'll see what you got defensively. Okay? Arizona just got beat by Hawaii. Okay? Oregon is carrying this entire conference on its back right now in one game. Because I'm also looking at this team and going, Oregon might not finish inside the top 25. Like, I think they got some really great NFL prospects, but I don't. I mean, look. I was looking. Let me. What's okay? So we got schedule. Okay. Nevada at home, Montana at home. Then you got to go to the farm. You got to go to Stanford. Okay, cool. Cal at home, ought to win. Colorado, ought to win. Although Laviska Shenault is that dude. At Washington, loss. Washington State, toss up. At USC, we'll see. USC is actually really interesting because Graham Harrell is the offense coordinator now, and that's an air raid quarterback and an air raid offense coordinator with legit NFL talent at wide receiver, at running back, at quarterback. So we'll see. And then you get Arizona at home. You got to go to Arizona State, so you could lose that. And then you got to beat the door, just blow the doors off of Oregon State. So in there, I can see 3 losses.
Yeah, of course. Not to put too much weight on the first game, but this is absolutely going to be something that Oregon is going to have. Like, this is going to be their tryout for the rest of the season. You're right when you say that they could lose this game. Yeah, they could lose a lot of games. And
They could lose a lot of games. All right, well, on the flip side, taking a look at Oregon, right? So their schedule sets up to be this one in Arlington, right, at AT&T Stadium. Then you're going to beat Tulane. You're going to beat Kent State. Then A&M, which I think could be interesting because A&M schedule is stupid. A&M schedule has number 1, number 2, number 3 on it, and Auburn. And that's off the top of my head. I think they got LSU on there too. Yup, they do. So, like, A&M schedule is stupid. Yo.
I'm going to go ahead and put that into the.
Let me make sure
Oregon
I got that
could lose
right.
that game.
Wait, let me make sure. I can't be right. Hold on. Just as an aside, A&M is scheduled 2019. Texas State. Bob Stoops going to be calling that game as offensive coordinator. Colorado School of Mines, remember them? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that squad. Jake Spavital is the head coach, Oklahoma Tigers. So you got Texas State, then you got to go to Clemson. You should see how wish he had his face. He's like, yo, okay, let's go to Death Valley. Then you got Lamar.
I would never.
Right. Lamar, Auburn. Get Auburn at home, cool. Arkansas in Arlington, you got to win that game. Alabama at home, maybe. Ole Miss, yeah, you ought to win. Mississippi State, maybe. UTSA, that's a win. South Carolina, that's a win. Then you got to go to Georgia and to LSU to finish. A&M schedule's stupid.
It's no good.
No. Anyway, so Auburn, right? You beat Oregon. We're going to call it a top 25 win. We're going to call it a fringe top 10 team because they're number 11.
Mm-hmm.
You get a W against A&M, which ain't out of the question. And all of a sudden, you barking an SEC championship game and possibly worth the college football playoff.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
We'll see how the season plays out on that because I also don't think that Auburn is that good, even with their relatively high ranking for the season. I don't see them having an easy road into the playoffs.
Oh, well, okay. You say you don't see them having an easy road.
Well, obviously because it's the SEC, right? SEC.
Well, do we still count Florida as good?
Yeah, Florida would beat the brakes off of Oregon. I just wanted to say that. Just would absolutely stomp them. But I do not believe that they are a championship ball club.
Wait! Time out! I can't decide if you threw more shade at Oregon or more shade at Miami for not winning this game. That Felipe Franks literally tried to hand to them when he handed the ball.
Let's walk this back a little bit. How do you think that this Oregon-Auburn game is going to go?
I think it's going to be close through halftime, and I think around the 3-minute mark of the third quarter, the SEC defense is going to get a turnover, whether it be from a pick or a fumble. Game's in Arlington. You ain't going to have a whole hell of a lot of help there. I don't see them holding together. And for Oregon to beat Auburn, they're going to have to run the ball well, which that offensive line could do. But then they'd have to stop Auburn from scoring. And they can't do that.
I would say that that's the Oregon's biggest issue, especially when it comes to just winning this game. If you look back at last year, Auburn smoked people in the first quarter all the way up to halftime. That's 100%. What they do very well.
100%.
And if Oregon is a team that was fine last year, then I don't think fine's going to cut it. They're going to have a much bigger step up from okay at quarterback in their offense to be able to deal with being down 13 points immediately.
Okay, so folks that watch the show know that I'm a recruiting dude, period, right? I like recruiting. I like looking at it from that standpoint because you learn a lot about the kids. You learn a lot about the programs and how they're building. For instance, UCLA sucks at recruiting because I don't think Chip Kelly cares. So UCLA ain't going to be no good because you got to really want to go to UCLA because he ain't going to come to get you. That said, Mario Cristobal has been using what people are calling an SEC philosophy to recruit to Oregon. And he's got Phil Knight's money to do it with, which is cool. It's cool. I'm on board with that. Marcus Arroyo, his offensive coordinator, been his boys for years. Cool. You land Kayvon Thibodeaux, right, who I asked you to watch film on. Your assessment of Kayvon, right, as a defensive lineman and a person who played defensive line. And then, is Kayvon good enough to get past Auburn and destroy Bo Nix enough to get a W?
That's the problem, is that you're dealing, like, especially when we're talking about an Auburn squad that puts up points early. We're not talking about a team that is sitting back and putting up points by being really methodical. It is a furious run pass, no predictability style offense that Auburn's going to throw at you in the first 10 minutes.
Yep.
As a true freshman, what are you going to do against a seasoned or an upperclassman offensive lineman from the SEC? I can't see where he fits in. Now, he might find a groove. He might all of a sudden become All-American, but not in 10 minutes.
He said not in 10 minutes. Kayvon Thibodeaux, 6'5", 240 pounds. Saw him at the opening final last year, 2018. Just absolutely amazing get off. The dude knows how to get off the edge. He needed to put on some weight. He did put on some weight. He's walking around about 225, 230. He and Nolan Smith, two guys that are coming off the edge that are really good. Nolan Smith's out of Georgia. Many of you know this. I think he has an opportunity to be really good. I don't think he's going to be really good in 2019. And that list of kids that are true freshmen is really small. Like, Bo Nix might be your true freshman All-American by default. You get where I'm going with this? Because the quarterback play out of true freshman quarterbacks has been skewed heavily by what Trevor Lawrence was able to do at Clemson. Certainly not Trevor friggin' Knight. And stop making that face. I also don't think that Justin Fields is going to be that good at Ohio State. And he's going to be not a freshman. I just got a hard time really getting on board with Oregon. I think they're paper champs at number 11. I don't buy it. I don't buy them winning the Pac-12.
Here's the thing. Oregon is a fine ball club. Enjoy your 8-win season. The end. That's the end of that one.
All right. So I feel like this is turning into dumping on Oregon. I look at the AP Top 25, and there are statistics that say things like, every year, there's one or two teams that start out in the top 10 that finished outside the top 25. And every year, there are teams that start out outside the top 25 that end up inside the top 10. Okay? Oregon, like Florida, feels like a team that's going to end up outside the top 25. And y'all saw Florida. And if you didn't watch Florida and Miami, what are you doing on this channel? I mean, because, like, it's what we do. And while other people are like, no more week 0 football, it was so terrible. Nah, man, give me football year round. I don't care. It's unskilled labor no matter how you look at it. Okay? Go ahead. Are you doing the choir thing? Because remember, they can't see your face. You got nothing to add. Okay. So that leads me to, why do we care about this game? We care about this game because we'd like to see the Pac-12 punch back, and because it's two ranked opponents to open the week. And you can count the number of times that happens on one hand, and usually it's by happenstance. It ain't something that you put together in 6 months beforehand. So that's the reason that this game matters. You can either get up for this game, or you can be like, yo, I can't wait for OU Houston. And I can't, but that's because that's my team playing. It ain't because that team, the game is particularly good. It's going to be the only one on Sunday at 6:30. That's where I'm going to watch it. But outside of that, you got Michigan State, TU? I mean, if that's you, Oklahoma State versus Oregon State? Yeah, I mean, if that's you, Georgia Tech versus Clemson on the ACC network, which is only going to get on your friggin' nerves. Yeah, Georgia Vandy. You want that game?
Oh, that one right there. Let me tell you. Get out of here.
It's a Georgia Vandy. I think it's Georgia Vandy. I got to make sure. Because now this channel has gotten big enough to where people can't wait to tell me that I'm wrong. Yeah, Georgia at Vandy. Yeah, August 31st. So I'm excited about that. Outside of that, ain't a whole hell of a lot going on. I mean, you're going to get up for Alabama, Duke. That's why we care about this game. That's why this game is being previewed, is because it's got 2 ranked opponents on it, and Oregon is probably going to end up with a better better win-loss record than Vanderbilt, even though Vanderbilt got a dude that could play in the NFL at quarterback, a dude that could play in the NFL at running back, a dude that could play in the NFL at tight end, and maybe a dude that could play in the NFL at wide receiver.
Well, that sounds like almost a good offense.
Ron, parting shots.
Go see The Dark Crystal. It's coming up on Netflix, and if it's anything like the movie, it's pretty cool. Thanks for having me.
You know what? This is what I get for telling this man to watch Wu Assassins and Black Lightning. And what else did I tell you to watch that was trash?
Avengers Endgame. RJ.
We're gonna finish with trolling now. All right, that's it from me. Deuces. Avengers Endgame.